Hello there, sword friends. Today I'm going to tell you what's in this box, and it should be a sword from Swords of the Northshire. And before I get started, I should say thank you to all of the folks that support this channel, because I have you to thank for this dealy bobber right here. Basically, a lot of folks reached out and said, what do you think of Swords of the Northshire? And for the longest time, I really had no opinion because I've never owned one from them or worked with them. So I reached out based on some feedback from fellow sword friends and said, hey, would you be interested in sending a sample? They said yes, and I was allowed to customize and pick something for them to send so that I could review it and give you my thoughts. So that's what I'm going to do. This won't be a full detailed review. I will inevitably break what's in here and do a more thorough thing that I typically do, but these will be my initial thoughts. And realistically, I just wanted to say thanks for everyone that gave me the idea, and for Swords of the Northshire for sending it. Also, I want to note that before I open the package, it's gonna look weird, at least if they gave me what I asked for. What I asked for is something overly embellished with a lot of different features that frankly don't go together, not in my mind and probably not in anyone else's. The point was really, though, not to deliver an aesthetic or a sword that anyone would necessarily want, but to basically throw in everything that Swords of the Northshire can do so that in some way I can show you all of the different options that they are capable of, and that would give you a better idea of what you might want to order if you can see examples of etching and bohi and fittings and blah 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 blah. So I'll shut up now, open the box, and tell you what I think. Now, the first thing I will tell you, as a supply chain nerd guy, that's a guy that moves boxes from one end of the world to the other, I really like this style of packaging versus, like one of these decorative boxes that you see in the back. And why is that? Well, it's styrofoam, it's dense, it does the job of shipping a sword across the globe. It does so reasonably well, and basically it's encased in styrofoam and then wrapped in packing tape to keep it presumably watertight. And it's cost effective, it's inexpensive, it's not necessarily environmentally friendly, but in terms of packaging, they're not spending a ton of money, or not a lot of what you're spending is going towards shit you don't necessarily want. Those boxes sit in the back, and I use them as shipping containers when I find a sword that fits. So this is, if you needed a display case, maybe you could ask them for it, but I do really like that no extra expense is really going into shipping, and that the shipping that they're providing does the job and not necessarily any more than what it needs to. And by that, I know I'm harping on this, but I'm not willing to pay to have fantastic packaging, right? It doesn't add anything to me personally. It doesn't make me want to spend more. I just want the sword that I ordered in the condition I ordered it in, and I want that done as economically as possible. And I feel that this does it. So that means my dollars, or your dollars, because I got it for free, are not going towards extra stupid shit that you don't care about. Or maybe you do care about it. Some people really dig those boxes. I am not super keen on them. Anyway, I'm gonna open this. So the downside of this packaging is that it can be messy and that it is styrofoam intensive, but realistically not a big deal. Okay, so here's what I got inside here. You're able to see, hopefully I don't drop it. Sword in a sword bag, and it looks like there's some little stick of cinnamon in here. That's probably not what it is, but we will find out. A cigar to smoke. It's a boy! Where's it go? Oh, we have a plastic bag over here. Just Swords of Northshire. Have you sword? Yes or no? I will share this with you. Yes, that's pretty good. Please share your review. Double check your review. Swords of Northshire right now. No, there's anything correct. Please reach out to us. We'll glad to take care of my tools. This is a tag that says, are you happy or not? And if you're not, some contact information on what to do. And if yes, then send a review. So I kind of like that one that says, if you have a problem, tell us. And if you're happy, share. If you're not happy, you could also do a review. But basically, if somebody isn't giving you a product that you want, you don't necessarily have to go right to the internet and bitch and moan. Shit happens. And I like that this says, hey, if we haven't met your expectations, then tell us, and we will try to solve that for you. It's a good customer service tool, and a lot of organizations aren't necessarily defined by doing everything right. It's hard to do everything right, but when something is fucked up, fixing it is often where really good spots stand out. Now, this isn't something that I can really share with you, and it doesn't translate, but this smells like like new, but kind of melted plastic a little bit. The bag is reasonably nice. It's like a silk feeling bag with some embellished, matches my shirt. We're a pair. I've seen this bag before, so it's I think kind of a standard run-of-the-mill bag that might come out of the area in China or other. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's perfectly pleasant and nice. I wasn't necessarily expecting the sword bag. Now, I talked about packaging earlier and shit that I don't really like to see, like extra packaging around the boxes. Sword bags are in fact nice. I keep them displayed and out. But if you didn't want the sun to age it, or you wanted to protect it more, putting the stuff in a sword bag still looks nice on the wall, and it is actually something certainly worth having. Plus, it allows you to clean up the sword and wipe it off. And everything so far is actually kind of surprisingly nice. What do we have here? So it looks like we have taped on a little baggie with extra makugi. Tapered little bits of bamboo pegs. So we got 4 extra makugi. The handle is wrapped and kind of shrink wrapped almost in a plastic. Again, likely to keep grease or whatever might happen. Sometimes these will get opened up by customs agents. Who knows exactly what happens when it leaves the factory or whoever shipped it and before it arrives here. So having this plastic over the silk, sometimes I've gotten swords that come out of the box brand new and they're stained. It's kind of nice to see this plastic over here, and hopefully that helps. I don't know if that's necessarily what it's for. Maybe it keeps it tight or keeps humidity or moisture off of it. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, it's not terribly expensive to do, and it's good. All right, at first glance, Kashra is on there. It's what I ordered. Ito is not the tightest, but certainly doesn't seem terribly loose. There are some spots where it moves a little easier than others, and I'll share that in more detail later. The Suba is what I ordered. This time I know not Swirly Mitsudoom's cherry themed. I did a cherry themed sword overall, but as you can see there are some bedazzlements that look like they are from me. And this the saya that I ordered was a cherry. It has little sakura themes on it. Just something I hadn't gotten before, and I thought it meshed with the cherry theme. And then we have a stenciled in Mitsudome bit here, which I like. The Sageo is on there, and underneath, at first glance, I'm not noticing any imprints in the lacquer, but I'll do a deeper inspection. Oh, down here we have a little bit of a problem, though. The saya is cracked. You might be able to see, I can get my fingernail in here. There we go, you can kind of make it out. It looks like the seam split. Not exactly sure why, but the seam does look like it split. So I might get a chance to talk about that with Swords of Northshire and see what they do. Now again, I'm not expecting a lot. This was free. It's a free review sample, and realistically from what I have here, I have enough to tell you what I think of the paint and this, that, and the other. But it does have a split in the lacquer, or not in the lacquer, but in the seam. Oh, shit! Of the saya. It's pretty minor. I think you could glue it back together, honestly, but you shouldn't have to. I mean, if you were to buy this new, this would be a disappointment, and the main thing would be, would Swords of the Northshire replace it? Based on the service that I've seen so far, I've talked to Bryce at Swords of the Northshire, and he has been very accommodating thus far. It doesn't really make me think that they would not replace it or fix it in some way, but that would be one thing that is not good. At any rate, this is exactly what I asked for, so cool beans. And also, Bryce at Swords of the Northshire was working with me to say, is this in fact what you want? Well, here's another little thing about the saya that may not be super great. It is tight. Now, to some extent, it should be tight, right? You don't want this to fall out, but I should be able to push it out with my thumb. And I have to push pretty hard. I gotta Yeah, gotta really get it in there. Deform my thumb a little bit to make it happen. Anyway, tight will probably loosen up over time, and maybe there's something happening from the trip across the pond. All right, and what I also asked for was to show some of the stenciling right here, and then also they have more cherries engraved on one side, so it shows some of the etching that they are capable of doing. One side I asked for a Bohi. I was actually going for the double Bohi along the shinogi, but anyway, yeah, they asked me if it's what I wanted. I said yeah, so I have one Bohi type on this side and another Bohi type on this side, which gives me the opportunity to show you how they handle two different Bohis. I asked them to start about an inch above the Habaki, and that is correct. Now I don't remember exactly what steel this is made out of. I have forgotten. In any case, it actually feels pretty comfortable in the hand, given its size. It's a bit of a big sword. Let's do a quick measure. I don't honestly recall what I asked for in terms of size, but this is 30 inches to the Munmachi, which seems about what I would ask for. I did ask for some specifics along the thickness, and I asked for some specific dimensions. I'm not actually sure what they were, though, at the moment. In any case, looks like we have two different things as well. So you notice the hamon along one side does not match the hamon along the other side. That is something I actually asked for. I didn't ask for another etching on this side, so I have cherries on one side. All that might seem odd. It's actually what I wanted. And then I have two different hamon patterns to show you. These are, I believe this is a through-hardened blade, and the hamon is just kind of brushed on, but it's brushed on in two different patterns so that I can show two different patterns of, two different options for the hamon and what they look like. And anyway, in any case, I will do a more thorough review on this sword, but the initial impressions are, so far they gave me what I asked for. It's a little disappointing to get a cracked saya. That's a bummer, but otherwise, with the exception of the crack, the saya arrived in very good condition. It's a little tight. The only gripe I would have thus far, without any use, is that the habaki is pretty stiff. Not a terrible thing. If you have a file that's small enough, you can kind of grind it down. It is just sticking on the habaki. It looks like the sword moves in and out of the saya well enough, and then kind of snags on the habaki. So serviceable and would likely lighten up over time. The crack, I mean, if you're desperately needed it, it's still a serviceable saya, and you could probably fix it with a bit of glue, but I'm guessing they would replace it for you. Otherwise, what I ordered in a functional sword, I have no idea what something like this would cost. I probably should ask before I make videos, but thus far it seems an overall decent sword. So stand by. I will make a more detailed review wherein I share all of the things and give you close-up videos. I just thought I'd do this and give you some quick initial impressions. Quick initial impressions are, pretty decent. I will put a link to some of the stuff that I have in whatever the hell this is in the description down below, along with what the price is or should be for something like this. And anyway, that's all I got. As always, cheers and thanks for watching. Shit, it's not all I've got. I forgot about this tube certificate inside. For a moment, I was really pretty happy. I thought this tube was pretty cool, but now, oh, it's coming out. Oh, 115.5 centimeters. Katana thickness. We have the certificate of authenticity. I don't know if this is in fact correct, but I will compare this with the actual dimensions. What usually irks me about these is that they don't match the sword that is in there. They're kind of pre-made. And while it's kind of a nice little tchotchke, something that I do think honestly adds value and helps you kind of keep your collection straight, it does bother me when they take the time to put measurements on there that aren't correct. I do also kind of like this little thing versus the envelope or the bag. If rolled out, but if you flatten it, there's no creases or anything in it, so it could potentially look a little nicer. And this little cigar case will go great up my ass. No, it will. I like the presentation. This isn't bad. It's not terribly expensive, and I think it survived well. For reals, this is all I have for you. I will make a review, and cheers, and thanks for watching.